Well, good afternoon. Hi, it's Casey Green. I'm here at the ASU GSV Innovation Summit. We're in San Diego. We're back for day 2 of the live interactive interviews with thought leaders, college presidents, technology industry folks, foundation executives, and others, talking about aspects of innovation, technology, other public policy in K-12 and higher education. Our thanks to all of you who joined us yesterday. We've got several hundred people who've registered for parts of the program today. We know all of you won't be able to be with us for all the hours of programming, which will run today from California time, Pacific time, from noon to about 4:20, from 3 o'clock to 7:20, but we'll hope you'll join us for the parts that you can. Also, we're beginning to post the archives from yesterday's program, so you can get to those conversations directly, and we'll be sending those URLs out via social media and email. Let me just do a quick review about what we're going to do today, a little bit of recap for yesterday. And then there'll be a short break before 20 minutes after the hour. Our first conversation today is with Michael Crow, who is the president of ASU, Arizona State University. Under President Crow's leadership, they've done the trifecta. They've pulled off 3 feats in and of themselves, pretty amazing, taken together, quite striking. Arizona State University has increased enrollment during both an economic upturn and a downturn. It's improved retention and degree completion rates for undergraduates across all groups, and also experienced a dramatic increase in research funding, always a key metric for research universities. Adding to that, all those things occurred even as the Arizona legislature was whacking the budget for ASU and other post-secondary institutions in the state. So quite an accomplishment during his leadership at ASU. We'll talk with President Crow about that and some related issues. Joining us then for the rest of the afternoon, I'm looking to the side of my cheat sheet, Melissa Davis, who's the CEO of Go Announce, a portfolio resource for high school students. At 40 minutes after the hour, at 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern time, we have a conversation with Daniel Greenstein. Dan is the Director of Post-Secondary Success at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The Gates Foundation is one of the, we have a little bit of support from the foundation to bring you these webcasts. At 20 minutes after 1, 20 minutes after 4, I'll be talking with Misty Frost, the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Instructure. Instructure has been growing both dramatically in the K-12 and higher ed market as an LMS. We'll talk not so much about the Instructure platform, about doing business and changing platforms. Followed by, at 40 minutes of the hour, at 1:40 or 3:40, John Phillips, who's Director of Worldwide Education at Dell. Again, not a conversation about Dell technology, Dell platforms, but the changing nature of the education market and expectations on platform and product providers in both K-12 and higher education. At 2 o'clock, I'm joined by Susan Furman, who is the president of Teachers College at Columbia University, one of the oldest and premier teachers colleges in the United States, to talk about research, practice, crossing the chasm, if you will, of how we bring research and we bring evidence into the conversation, into practice in K-12 and higher ed. Followed, and we are very fortunate that we will have Ted Mitchell joining us. Ted is the Undersecretary of Education at the U.S. Department of Education. He's been the Dean of an Ed School at UCLA, a college president at Occidental, has had some other titles as well, and is now with the Department of Education, one of the, I believe, the #2 ranking official in the department. At 2:40, Wendy LeDuc from eSchool Media will be joining us. That's a slight change in our schedule to sort of have a conversation about what's happening on the ground here at the ASU GSV conference in terms of the conversations she's having, the presentations that she's seeing, other things in terms of the context and the esprit, the sort of the buzz, if you will, about what's going on here. At 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, Jonathan Finkelstein, who is the founder and CEO of Credly. We'll talk about badging and credentials as a complement, not as necessarily an alternative, but a complement and a supplement to traditional diplomas and degrees, the expansive notion of credentialing that we're seeing going on. Karen Cater from Digital Promise joins us at 3:20 or 6:20, talk about some things in the K-12 market, enabling the power and promise of technology. And at 3:40, another K-12 focused conversation with Christine Willig, who is the president of K-12 education at McGraw-Hill, the changing nature of curriculum materials, expectations for curriculum materials, both print and digital, the issues of assessment that play out in the K-12 market. Finally, at 4 o'clock, our last conversation of the day, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, Raheem Rajan, who's a senior program officer at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, talk with us about the foundation's focus on pathways, working with campuses who provide pathways for students towards degree progress. That's our lineup for the day. A quick recap of yesterday. We were fortunate. We had some really good conversations. They were all, of course, really good conversations. But to highlight a couple of them, Deborah Quazzo, who is a founder and managing partner of GSV, talked with us about the issue of evidence, talked with us about the climate. Deborah and a couple of others also mentioned the issue of design and design thinking. We're seeing a lot of buzz about that here at the conference. And interestingly, we're going to have a conversation on Wednesday at 3:40 Pacific, 6:40 Eastern Time with Sandy Spector, who's a managing director of IDEO, which is a design shop. Many folks know about IDEO for the work they do on physical products. They, for example, designed the first Apple mouse. IDEO did the design for Steve Jobs for the next computer and a lot of other products. And now how that notion of design thinking plays out in systems, operations, and processes. So we'll kind of close the loop on that. And an interesting and engaging conversation yesterday, you may recall if you were with us, with Daryl Adams, superintendent of the Coachella Valley Unified School District, as he talked about putting routers on buses and parking them in mobile parks to serve and to light up, provide internet access for his students, all of whom, from elementary through high school, have iPads, and providing signals so they can actually get their homework done and do other works, and some of the impact that that has in terms of the student experience, the fact that that technology is now in homes, is fully supported by the district, and how students are teaching families and parents as part of that experience as well. Lou Pugliese talked with us about some of the experience of being and I'm saying this lightly, Lou is an old friend, the Senior Innovation Fellow at Arizona State University, and a guy who's worked as an entrepreneur on the outside, trying to create and foster sort of an entrepreneurial culture in various units at ASU. So that's a couple of highlights, and also I want to cite Michael King from IBM, joined us yesterday as well, talking about issues about cognition, issues about data and analytics, security and privacy in terms of IBM's role in the education market today. Most of us don't see IBM logos on the desktops we might have 10 or 15 years ago where PCs were so present, but IBM is still there, just in a very different kind of role. So that's our lineup. It's about 10 minutes after the hour. I'm going to take a short break for a few moments. We'll be back in about 5-7 minutes, awaiting the arrival of Michael Crow, president of ASU, for what should be a very interesting, very fast-paced, and informative conversation. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you.